My name, I'm not even sure I remember it the way I should. There are days when I wake up and the world feels like a stranger's. House, every wall, every sound, every smell unfamiliar. And on those days, the worst part isn't forgetting where I am. It's forgetting who I'm supposed to be. But nothing, absolutely nothing, scared me more than the day I walked out of my house and couldn't find my way back. That was the morning I lost more than directions. That was the day I lost the people who raised me, and I didn't even know it yet. If you've ever lost someone, or felt lost yourself, then stay with me, because this is the story of how forgetting almost took everything from me. And how one strange thing I never forgot ended up saving my life. I live in a small town in the United States, the kind of place where every street looks the same, where mailboxes stand like silent guards, and every house seems to hide 1,000 quiet stories behind its windows. My life used to be simple. Quiet mornings, soft sunlight filtering through the blinds, coffee smells drifting from the kitchen, my mother's voice humming in the background, my father's heavy footsteps moving across the wooden floor. But that life feels like a dream now, because after the accident, nothing stayed the same. I don't remember the crash itself, not the screeching tires, not the impact, not the shattering glass. All I have are scattered flashes, like broken pieces of a film reel. I remember headlights, a horn blaring, my heart pounding, the world spinning like someone grabbed reality and twisted it. Then darkness. When I woke up in the hospital, everything felt wrong. My body felt heavy, like I had been buried under something invisible. My head felt like someone had stuffed cotton inside it. I tried to speak, but the words didn't come out right. And when the nurse leaned over me and asked, "Do you know where you are?" I stared at her. Because the answer was no. I didn't even know who she was. Doctors said I had something called retrograde memory loss. Parts of my past had been ripped away, like pages torn out of a book. Some memories remained, others were just gone. They told me not to panic. But how do you not panic when you look at your own mother and don't recognize her face? She sat by my hospital bed every day, her eyes red, her hands shaking as she held mine. "Don't worry," she kept whispering. "We'll get through this. You'll remember, I promise." But every time I looked at her, all I felt was guilt, because I wanted to remember her. I tried to remember her, but it was like reaching into empty space. My father stood at the foot of my bed, silent most of the time. His face looked carved from stone. But sometimes, when he thought I wasn't looking, I saw his hands tremble. I didn't know how to tell them that they felt like strangers to me, that their faces meant nothing, that every time they told me stories about my childhood, it felt like they were talking about someone else. Weeks passed. The doctors sent me home, saying familiar surroundings might help bring memories back. But home didn't feel like home. The walls were the same. The furniture was the same. The smell of the place was the same. But nothing inside me clicked. Every morning I would wake up confused. My heart would race. I'd sit on the edge of my bed trying to remember something, anything from before. Sometimes I would wander outside, hoping fresh air might unlock something inside me. And that's when it started, the getting lost. At first it was small things. I'd go for a short walk and forget which way to turn. I'd stand at the corner of my street, staring in every direction, trying to remember which house was mine. Once I walked for 2 hours before someone found me sitting on a curb, staring at my hands, confused and scared. My parents started worrying. They started watching me more closely. They stopped letting me go out alone. But I hated feeling trapped. I wanted to prove I wasn't broken. So one morning, while they were still asleep, I slipped out. I told myself I'd just walk around the block, just once, just to feel normal. But that morning, I never found my way back. I remember stepping outside. The air felt cold. My breath formed small clouds in front of my face. The sky was pale, like it hadn't fully woken up yet. I walked slowly at first. The streets were quiet. The only sound was the wind and my footsteps. But as I walked farther, something strange happened. The world began to blur, not physically, but in my mind. Street names stopped meaning anything. Houses started to look identical. Even the sky felt unfamiliar. I tried to turn back, but suddenly I didn't know which direction was back. Panic crawled up my chest like cold fingers. I stopped at a corner and turned in a slow circle. Every road looked the same. Every house looked unfamiliar. My heart began to hammer. I pulled out my phone, but my hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. I tried to call home, but for a few horrifying seconds, I couldn't remember who to call. Names slipped away like sand through my fingers. Mom, Dad, I tried to picture their faces. Nothing. Blank. Empty. The terror of that moment. I will never forget it. Not because I remembered something, but because I realized how much I had lost. I wandered for what felt like hours, my chest tight, my breathing shallow. Cars passed me. People walked by. Nobody knew I was lost in a world I should have known. And then I saw something, a flash of red metal at the end of a street. Something about it felt familiar. I moved closer, my heartbeat loud in my ears. It was an old car, rusty, damaged, sitting alone near a broken fence. And the moment I touched the hood, a strange feeling rushed through me. Warmth. Recognition. Not of the place, not of the street, but of the car. My hands trembled. I didn't remember my own home. I didn't remember my own parents, but somehow I remembered this. I didn't know how. I didn't know why, but deep in my bones I knew this car mattered. And I had no idea that this strange connection would change everything. I stood there, my hands still resting on the rusty hood of that old car. The metal was cold, but my fingers didn't move away. Something inside me was pulling me closer, like the car was calling out to a part of me I had completely lost. My breathing slowed. For the first time since I left the house that morning, the panic faded just a little. But the confusion didn't, because I still didn't know where I was. I still didn't know who I was supposed to be. Yet this broken, abandoned car, it felt like it knew me. I walked around it slowly. The paint was faded, scratched deeply like it had survived something violent. The windows were cracked but not fully broken. Dust covered everything like a layer of forgotten time. I touched the door handle. It clicked open easily. And the moment I pulled it, something strange happened. A flash. A loud sound. Metal crushing metal. My head jerked back. My heart exploded in my chest. And suddenly I wasn't standing on a street anymore. I was somewhere else. Speed. Rain hitting glass. The steering wheel shaking violently under my hands. A voice screaming my name.
Watch out!
Then, darkness. I gasped and stumbled backward, falling onto the grass. My hands were shaking uncontrollably. What was that? I whispered. My voice sounded chush, like it didn't belong to me. People nearby turned to look at me, but I didn't care. My mind was spinning. That wasn't just imagination. That was a memory. A real one. From the crash. From the accident that stole everything from me. I looked back at the car. Now, it wasn't just a broken object. It was a trigger, a locked door inside my brain. I stepped closer again, slower this time. This time I didn't touch it. I just stared, and another flash hit me. This time, clearer. I saw myself driving. I saw my hands gripping the steering wheel tightly, and in the passenger seat, two faces, familiar but blurred. A man. An older woman. My chest tightened. Mom, Dad. I whispered it without thinking. But the moment I tried to focus on their faces, the memory shattered, like glass breaking inside my mind. Pain shot through my head so sharply I dropped to my knees. I stayed there for a long time, breathing heavily, trying to understand what was happening to me. Why this car, of all things, was connected to my memories. And then I noticed something, a small symbol engraved near the car's dashboard, half hidden under dust, a logo. It looked corporate, clean, too modern for this old wreck. I wiped it with my sleeve, and underneath the dirt, a name appeared. Blackstone Auto Recovery. My stomach tightened. Something about that name felt wrong. Not just unfamiliar, but dangerous. Like I wasn't supposed to see it. I searched the inside of the car carefully. Under the seat, I found something. A small metal keycard. Strange, clean, almost new compared to everything else. I turned it in my hand. And that's when I noticed something worse. My own initials were engraved on it. My full name, right there, on something I had never seen before. My breath stopped. This doesn't make sense, I muttered. If I didn't remember my own parents, how could I be connected to something like this? I stood up, holding the keycard tightly. The world around me suddenly felt different, like I had stepped into something much bigger than a memory loss problem. Something planned. Something hidden. A part of my life I was never supposed to question. A car I didn't remember. A company I didn't know. A crash I couldn't fully recall. And now a key that had my name on it. I looked down the empty road. For a second I felt it again. That feeling, being lost. But this time, it wasn't just physical. It was deeper. Like someone had erased my life and left only fragments behind. And somewhere inside me, a thought formed. If this car was connected to my past, then maybe my parents were too. And if I couldn't remember them, then someone made sure I wouldn't. I clenched the keycard tighter. I need to find answers, I whispered. But what I didn't know yet was that finding answers meant walking straight into something. I was never meant to survive. The sun was rising.
Higher now.
But I barely felt its warmth. My mind was stuck in a loop. Blackstone Auto Recovery. The keycard. My parents' blurred faces. And that terrifying moment when I couldn't even remember who to call. Every step I took away from that abandoned car felt heavier than the last. Because now I wasn't just lost in a city. I was lost inside my own life. I kept walking, holding the keycard tightly in my hand, like it was the only proof I still existed. Cars passed by. People talked. Someone laughed in the distance. Normal life, but I wasn't part of it anymore. I stopped at a small roadside bench and sat down, trying to calm my breathing. Think, I whispered to myself. But thinking only made it worse. Because every time I tried to pull my past together, it felt like grabbing smoke. I pulled out my phone again. This time I forced myself to look at saved contacts. My fingers shook as I scrolled. There were names. Dozens of them. But they felt like foreign words. Then I saw something. A contact labeled home. My chest tightened. Home. That word should have meant safety. Comfort, belonging. But for me, it felt like a locked door I didn't have the key to. I pressed call. The phone rang. Once, twice, 3 times. Then, a voice answered.
Hello?
A woman's voice, soft, shaking slightly. And the moment I heard it, something inside me cracked. My eyes stung. Because even though I didn't remember her, my body did. My breathing changed. My heart recognized her before my mind did. Hello? She said again, more worried now. Oh, who is this? I tried to speak, but my throat closed. I swallowed hard. I think I'm lost, I finally said. Silence. Then a sharp inhale. Oh my God.
Where are you?
Her voice broke slightly. It felt like she was about to cry, but I didn't know why. Because I still didn't know who she was to me. I don't know where I am, I said honestly. But I found something. A car and a keycard. It has my name on it. The silence on the other end changed. Not emotional anymore. Tense. Careful. Like I had said something I wasn't supposed to say. What car? She asked slowly. That tone, it made my skin crawl. I don't know. It's abandoned, rusty. There's a logo, Blackstone Auto Recovery. The line went dead silent. Too silent. Then she whispered, "You saw that car?" My grip tightened. Yes. Another pause. Then, "Don't go anywhere," she said quickly. "Do you hear me? Don't move. I'm coming to get you." Click. The call ended. I stared at my phone. Something about that conversation didn't feel right. She didn't sound relieved. She sounded afraid, like I had opened something that was meant to stay closed. I stood up slowly. The keycard felt heavier now, not physically, but emotionally, like it carried consequences I didn't understand. And then I noticed something strange. Across the street, a black SUV, parked, windows tinted too dark, engine running. No one getting out, just watching, waiting. My stomach dropped. I stepped back instinctively. The SUV didn't move, but I knew it was watching me. My heart started pounding again. I turned and walked faster, then faster. Then I was almost running. But every time I looked back, the SUV was still there, following at a distance, not rushing, not aggressive, just patient, like it already knew where I was going. I reached a small alley and stopped to hide behind a wall, breathing hard. My mind was screaming now, "What is happening to me?" But deep down, a darker thought formed. This wasn't just about memory loss. This wasn't just an accident. Something about that car, something about Blackstone, and something about my parents didn't want me remembering anything. And the worst part, they already knew I had started to remember. A sound broke my thoughts. Footsteps. Close, slow, deliberate. Someone was coming down the alley. I held my breath. The keycard in my hand felt like it was burning. And then a shadow appeared at the corner, and a voice said calmly, "We told you not to look for it. We told you not to look for it." Those words didn't just enter my ears. They hit my chest like a physical force. My body froze instantly. The alley felt smaller. The air felt heavier. Even the sound of distant traffic seemed to disappear. I couldn't see the person clearly yet. Only a shadow standing at the edge of the corner. But I could feel it. Danger. Real danger. My grip tightened around the keycard so hard my fingers hurt. Who are you?" I managed to say, my voice shaking. The shadow didn't move. Then slowly a man stepped forward. Black jacket. Clean shoes, calm face. Too calm. Like he had done this many times before. He looked at me the way people look at something that escaped a cage. Not angry. Not surprised. Just controlled. "You shouldn't have gone back to that car," he said. My heart started racing again. "That car belongs to me," I said quickly, though I didn't even know if it was true. The man smiled slightly. "No," he replied. "It belongs to what you forgot." That sentence made my head spin. "What I forgot?" I repeated. He nodded slowly. "You really don't remember anything, do you?" Something in his tone made me feel small, like I was a mistake that had survived too long. I stepped back. "Stay away from me," I said. But he didn't move closer. Instead, he looked at the keycard in my hand. "That thing you're holding," he said. "It's not a memory key. It's a lock, and you just opened it." My throat went dry. "I don't understand." He sighed like he was disappointed. "You were never supposed to wake up after the accident," he said calmly. The world tilted. My breath stopped. "What did you just say?" He tilted his head. "The crash didn't just happen. It was controlled." My ears started ringing. No, that's not possible." But even as I said it, something inside me twisted, because deep down, I already felt it. Nothing about my situation felt natural. Not the memory loss, not the hospital, not the strange connection to that car. The man took another step forward, slower this time. "You were part of a recovery program," he said. "Experimental. Memory extraction after traumatic incidents." My stomach dropped. "You're lying," I whispered. He shook his head. "Blackstone Auto Recovery isn't a car company," he said. "It's a front. They retrieve more than vehicles." My mind was struggling to keep up. "Retrieve? What?" I asked. He looked directly at me now. "People." Silence. The world stopped. Even the wind seemed to freeze. My brain rejected the words immediately. But my body reacted differently. A faint memory flashed. A hospital room. A needle. A blurred voice saying, "Don't resist." I stumbled slightly. No, that's not real." The man watched me carefully. "You're not supposed to have fragments this early," he muttered. Something went wrong. My hands started shaking violently now. "Where are my parents?" I asked, suddenly panic rising. The moment I said it, his expression changed, just slightly. But I saw it, a flicker. "Concern or fear?" "Your parents," he repeated slowly. "Tell me," I shouted. He exhaled. "Your parents weren't supposed to be part of this equation." That sentence hit harder than anything before. "What does that mean?" He stepped back slightly now. For the first time. He looked uncertain. And that scared me more than anything, because powerful people don't become uncertain unless something is wrong. Very wrong. "You're not just a patient," he said quietly. "You're a failure point." "Failure point?" He nodded. "You retained something you weren't supposed to retain." My head hurt. Images flashed again. The car. The crash. A hand gripping mine. My mother's voice screaming my name. Then darkness. I fell to my knees slightly, holding my head. "Stop," I whispered. "Please stop." But the memories kept pushing through. The man watched me carefully. Then suddenly he said, "They're coming for you." I looked up instantly. "Who?" He pointed behind me. Not me. Footsteps. Multiple. Behind the alley. Slow, coordinated, professional. My breath stopped. He leaned closer and said quietly, "If they reset you again, you lose everything. Even the fragments." My chest tightened. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. He looked at me for a long moment, then said something that changed everything. "Because you're not the only one who remembers your parents." Before I could respond, a loud engine roared outside the alley. Black SUV doors opened. Footsteps rushed in. The man grabbed my arm suddenly. "Run," he said. And for the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. Real fear. Not for himself. For me. "Go!" he shouted. And I ran, not knowing where, not knowing why, only knowing one thing. If they caught me now, I might never remember anything again. I ran without thinking. My feet hit the ground faster than my mind could process. The alley blurred around me. Walls, trash bins, flickering lights. Everything became a tunnel of panic. Behind me, I heard voices. "Stop him!" Footsteps echoed. Multiple people. Coordinated. Not random strangers. Professionals. My lungs burned, but I didn't slow down. I couldn't. Because for the first time since the accident, I wasn't just confused. I was being hunted. I turned sharply into another street, almost slipping as I crossed the curb. Cars passed by normally. People walked like nothing was wrong. But my world was collapsing behind me. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't stop. My hand tightened around the keycard. That small piece of metal felt like my entire life depended on it. Maybe it did. I finally ducked behind an old construction site. Metal sheets. Broken wood. Empty silence. I pressed my back against a wall and tried to breathe quietly. My heart was beating so loud I thought they could hear it. No footsteps now. Just silence. Too much silence. Then my phone vibrated. I almost dropped it. Home calling again. My fingers hesitated. Then I answered. "Hello?" I whispered. The same woman's voice. But now it was calmer, controlled. "Where are you?" she asked. I didn't answer immediately, because something felt wrong. Different. Not like before. "You're not coming to get me, are you?" I asked slowly. Silence. Then she said, "You already met someone, didn't you?" My stomach dropped. "Yes," I said. Another pause. Then her voice changed. Harder. Colder. "Listen carefully," she said. "That man is not your ally." My breathing slowed. "He told me things," I said. A sharp laugh on the other end. "Of course he did." My mind spun. "Who are you?" I demanded suddenly.
Tell me the truth!
Silence again. Longer this time. Then she said something that froze me completely. "I am the reason you are still alive." My grip tightened. "What does that mean?" Her voice lowered. "You were part of Blackstone's memory extraction program. After your accident, your brain was too valuable to discard." My head started pounding again. No, that's not possible." But she continued. "You weren't just a patient. You were a prototype. A prototype." The word echoed inside me. "No," I whispered. "Yes," she said. "And your parents. They tried to take you out of the program." My breath stopped. "They what?" "They were not supposed to interfere," she continued. "So they were removed from your accessible memory layer." My chest tightened violently. "Removed?" I repeated. A pause. Then softly. "They're not gone from reality. Just from your mind." Tears stung my eyes. "So they're alive?" I asked desperately. Silence. Then, "I didn't say that." That sentence shattered me. Suddenly I heard a noise outside. Metal footsteps. Close. Too close. I turned off the phone immediately. My entire body went still. They found me. I slowly looked through a gap in the wall. Black SUVs, parked outside the construction site. Men in black uniforms stepping out, searching. Systematic, like a grid closing in. My breath shook. There was nowhere left to run. And then, a different voice came from behind me. "You trust her too easily." I spun around. It was him, the man from the alley, breathing slightly heavier now. A small cut on his face. "You followed me?" I whispered. He nodded. "You're running in circles," he said. "Both sides are manipulating you." I clenched my fists. "I don't even know who I am anymore." He stepped closer. "Then let me show you the part they erased." Before I could react, he pulled out a small device and pressed it against my wrist. A sharp pulse hit my body. I collapsed slightly, and everything went white. But this time, the memory didn't break. It stayed. A hospital room. My parents standing beside me, crying. A doctor saying if he wakes up with full memory, the program collapses. My mother whispering, "Don't take him." My father shouting, "He's our son!" Then a gunshot, a scream, and everything going dark. I gasped back into reality, falling to my knees, tears streaming down my face.
No.
I whispered, "No, that's not real." But I knew it was. It felt too real, too painful. The man stood above me. "You weren't meant to forget your parents," he said quietly. "You were meant to forget what they did to protect you." My whole body trembled. "What? What did they protect me from?" He looked at the SUVs closing in and said the final truth. "From Blackstone turning you into something they can control forever." Silence. Everything stopped. The world, the sound, my breathing, everything. And then I realized something terrifying. I wasn't just trying to remember my past. I was trying to survive the truth of it. The SUVs started moving in. Voices shouting, footsteps rushing closer. The man grabbed my arm. "One choice left," he said. I looked at him. At them, at everything collapsing. "What choice?" I asked. He pointed toward the back of the site.
A tunnel!
"Old subway access. It leads out of the city." "And you?" I asked. He smiled slightly. "I was never part of your story," he said. "I just made sure you got to this point." Before I could respond, he pushed me hard.
Go!
And I ran again. But this time, I wasn't running away from confusion. I was running toward the truth. As I reached the tunnel entrance, I looked back one last time. Black silhouettes closing in, shadows of a system I didn't understand. And I whispered, "If my parents are out there, I will find them." Then I stepped into the darkness. And the real story began.